Good morning, everybody. It is another day to work on the rig, and I hope it's going to be a productive one. It's going to be an important one. It's the day we're going to focus on the generator system for the rig. I've done a lot of testing here over the last week or so. You guys have been along when I found the vampire leak that was draining the battery. You guys have also been along putting on the new, checking the alternator and putting on the new voltage regulator, and we're running good. And it's time to drill down now and figure out why our generator is not powering the devices inside of the coach. And of course, obviously, it's very important. We've been doing some battery testing here this morning, testing our battery and make sure that we have a really great quality battery, and that thing has not budged one bit overnight, and that's great. So our new battery is confirmed is good. I just do a test to keep these guys honest here. I've also was lucky enough to find a schematic for the control panel, and of course we have the Magnetech, and let me turn this over, by Parallax out of Indiana. And this thing is really good because it gives you ways that you can test. You really got to do your research when you're working on systems. You can't just go in willy-nilly, because you really don't have any idea of test points and things like that. So did a basic test on the transfer relay, seemed to be working inside. Now the big question, and I'll start the generator in a minute here, and I wanted to also show that having this schematic is a beautiful thing for being able to test components, because it rates all the components, like a 0.47 250 volt capacitor in there. That's our big size capacitor that can handle the high capacity. What the hell is that? The capacitor in there can boost things up a little bit. And we've got our resistors are all labeled 1000 ohm, adjustable, variable. All kinds of things here that are going to be very helpful in terms of working today. It could be a frustrating day. It could be a good day. The great news is that the generator is an outstanding generator. It only has 35.5 hours on it. The bad news is, in talking with the former owner, he's not really conversant in mechanical, electrical stuff. He was an honest guy, right? I mean, he's still willing to communicate with me after the sale, which has been great, and just to try to work with him to establish what happened with the generator. And he keeps talking about something happened with some melted wires or something going in, something somewhere. He calls the converter the inverter. I mean, it's not a guy that knows, hell of a nice guy, but it's not a guy that really knows much about systems. So I'm trying to suss my way through that. Now, one very basic test is that if the generator is kicking out power, if it is producing power, it's going to produce power. Now that sounds very simple, but that power should be measurable too. And there's two different places that this generator kicks power out to. One of them, of course, is inside of the coach to power the air conditioner, the microwave, to run the 120 volt to 12 volt converter in there, to take that 120 volt power AC and step that down to 12 volt DC power that can run the coach lights and some other smaller things in there. This is not a big rig. This does not have some mega gigantic fuse panel like you would find on some of these really nice modern 35, 40, 42 foot travel trailers and fifth wheels these days. It just isn't like that. But that's one component of generation, is to generate power to power inside of the coach. The other thing is to charge the battery. Now, we may not be able to immediately figure out if the charger, why the charger's not operating inside of the coach and powering those things, but we can do a second test and determine if the generator is at least attempting to charge the battery, because our converter box has the transformer, the 120 to 12 volt DC, as well as some 120 taps off that for AC and microwave. In addition to that, it also has the battery charger, which means if you run the generator or you're on shore power, you're charging up the battery. So the first logical thing we want to do today is put our multimeter to voltage, DC voltage. We want to hook it onto the battery, and we want to start the generator up, and we want to see if our voltage is rising. Now, that's a very important thing. If our voltage drops on there, and I know we're also running the we're not running the engine, so we're not pulling on an alternator to do the charging. Any gain in voltage will be because of the generator that's producing output there. So we should see our battery voltage start to rise. Now, as I said, that's an important thing, because that will prove that the generator is producing electricity, and it'll help us further isolate where the problems lie. And we're almost getting to the point of hitting the converter box here. So one step at a time, though, we got to be logical. Maybe this will be picked up by the microphone. I'll let you hear what the seller told me regarding the coach, the charging system, and the converter, what he calls an inverter.
Frank Caraway, returning your call. On that van, yes, that inverter I would assume is probably burned up. Those wires were the same. You know, they go directly from the inverter to the back battery to the auxiliary. And I'm assuming when those got cross-phased and that got burned up, it took out that inverter. Where it's at, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But those were the only two issues, that inverter and the alternator not charging. The alternator is brand new. I just bought it. It's never been used. But maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a solenoid. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. You're just going to have a mechanic look at it and find it for you. So that's the best I can tell you. Have a good day.
So as you heard by that voice message that he left me, there's issues. You know, we already solved the alternator. That was fine. It was the voltage regulator and stuff. But the inverter, he calls it inverter, converter. He's talking about an auxiliary battery in the back. It's all trying to piece together a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing, because he admits, quite frankly, he's not a mechanic, and you know, it's the best way that he could describe it. He tried to replace the solenoid himself and some other things too. So let's get on with the show here. No, I didn't forget to leave the headlights on, but I have been drawing down the battery a little bit here for a couple minutes, just so we can more easily. You know, I don't want if the generator is charging, I don't want it to be cutting off and not charging the battery. It may or may not right now. I mean, the battery's not in a terribly discharged condition. So let me go ahead. You see 12.3. Let me turn off the headlights here. See, we're also disconnected from shore power. We want to make sure you do that, because the shore power could be providing the charging through the converter box. We're here just isolating the generator. So now I'm going to go inside. We still got about 12.49 here. Let's see if we can get any kind of top up with the generator going. 12.49. Any rise will signal that it's attempting to charge. Generator's on. We'll watch and see if that rises. 12.512. Any kind of rise is significant. closes. I left the door open here with the light. Yeah, we're up to 12.5556. So if this thing wasn't charging, there would be no way that the voltage would be rising here. Seven. Now you might ask, well, Rosie, why do you bring us through such simple tests? Because just to show you guys the steps that you should go through to isolate exactly where the problem lies. I mean, there's a big difference between a generator that runs and a generator that produces electricity. I mean, that saves you from having to pull the generator out of the rig and get a harmonic puller and pull off the flywheel and check all the magneto, and it's a big deal. So by it being able to do some external tests on checking output as we did here, it's a simple way to verify and isolate the problem further. That's why I go through these steps. For many of you, it'll look very simplistic. For some of you, it'll be instructional to show the best way to track down exactly what's going on with your generator charging system. Next thing we're going to do is come in the coach, because we've pretty much identified that the problem is right here within that converter box. So we're going to back check the connections to the generator and see what's, hopefully we'll find out some more information. So we're going to go ahead, lift up this sofa, this scissors bed here, get that propped up, and get in there and check. I want to give my usual strong caution here. If you're not familiar with electrical operations in theory and the practical side of electronics, do not attempt these things that I'm showing you today. Okay, go to a qualified RV shop and have it done. This is for demonstration purposes only. I've wired houses, distribution, put up breaker panels, done all those different things. Very qualified to work on electrical things. I'm no pro, that's for sure. I leave that to the pros. But I know enough to go in and check things. But you know, if you touch something wrong, you could get severely injured or killed. So that's my caution to you. That's my disclaimer. That's my verbal waiver to you if you're watching this, that this is not something that you should attempt to do on your own. We need to determine if it's bringing 120 volts into the converter box. Now, just to explain what you're looking at here, you're looking at two different feeds here. This heavy black cable over here is bringing the shore power in. This feed here is bringing the generator power in. So we want to very carefully check it out here and determine if this is putting out output. We want to do that extremely carefully. We're going to go ahead and hook up the meter, making sure that we have it set to AC volts, because this is alternating current. It's not direct current. We don't want to blow our meter. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn off the generator and install our test leads and see what we get, if any power output at all. This will be the true test now. We're going to go ahead, fire up the generator again, and lo and behold, look at what we got there, guys. 121, 122 volts AC coming off that generator. How sweet is that? So we know that the generator works fine. Kicks off the perfect voltage for our use inside the coach. Now, the next thing I want to do is a few more simple tests. just to make sure all of the connectivity is good up here. Sometimes things may not be making a proper connection, and that may inhibit power from coming into the converter box. I'm a little concerned because I did see something when I was unscrewing this little cap on here, the twisty up, slips my mind right now what the heck it is, wire nut. When I was taking off that wire nut, I saw something that concerned me. But there's the good news: 120, 122, a little bit of bounce there, but I'm sure that smooths out through the box. So let's go ahead and shut down our generator. And I just want to check something before we go ahead and go through all the work of pulling the converter box here. Well, the connectivity was good up there, so that's not the problem. So we're now going to go ahead and remove the box and take a look at the inside here. We know we're getting power. I'm on shore power now. We know we're getting good power coming into the converter, but something's being lost going down there. So we're going to have to go ahead and pull the unit now, and we're going to make sure to take plenty of good pictures here, so we get the wiring correct. It's going to be very, very important to get the proper lay of this unit before we go ahead and remove it. So that's going to be our next step. Just removing all the 12-volt taps. Remember, I took plenty of pictures so I could remember this isn't so critical on the 12-volt side, but that's pretty much released from this side. Go ahead and remove this one. Seems like that one's going to be a little harder to come out, but I've also got the bottom connections removed too. Whew. Okay, not much more to go. Got a little lock washer we don't want to lose there. Alright, there we go. That's pretty much loose from there. We'll have to remove these two. Looks like our battery in neutral, so we're going to want to make a picture of that on the back. Get that good. Plenty of pictures. I drew a little physical schematic here with the layout, and I've labeled all of my wires, giving them a number code. You may ask why, but if I have to replace this converter box, well, it'll be a while before I get back to the wiring, and I don't want to forget. So basically everything has been disconnected now. I've got the top and bottom feeds marked here with the masking tape, and next thing to do now is to remove the shore and the generator feeds here. Okay, we have pulled the unit, taken it outside for some inspection, and I will tell you, it looks a little bit raggedy. And I can smell burning inside of this unit. Get it over here on the... And there's the charge relay. See that right there, it reaches a certain level. This is the charging controller. Printed circuit board here. This is our transformer here. There's quite a bit of loose stuff going on back here, as you can see. And geez, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can pull this back here and take a look behind. Should be able to just pull these off. Give me a second here. This is where I think the problem is. Within here you can see the switching relay, and what this does, if you look at the top, you can see it has two feeds, the generator side and the line side for shore power on this side. Now as this thing senses which side the power is coming in, and it closes the circuit there, but for some reason, whatever, it's not closing and making contact on the generator side, so we're not getting any power here, and therein lies the big issue. So I'm going to hook up a little bit of power here and do a couple tests. We got her on the bench here, and I hope you can see here. Okay, there's the relay down below there, and you can see right now I'm going to be inputting on the shore power side, and I have a hookup here. This is not something I recommend at home. Again, caution, do not fiddle with electricity unless you're absolutely sure you know what you're doing. Now listen to what happens when I click the power on here. There goes the relay. Off, on. Now when I flip over to generator here on this side, let's flip it on now. Nothing. So obviously on the generator side of this relay, we're not getting any power to make it close that connection. So we got some big decisions to make here. In light of the age of the, this was manufactured in April of 1988. Given the fact the age of this unit and the way this looks a little sketchy and buzzes a little bit here on the bottom, it could be kind of foolish to go ahead and try and attempt repairs on this unit. So I think what I would rather do is get a better unit with a little more DC distribution on it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Go look it up and find a better unit. I know it can be awful disappointing when the expectation is you're going to get things going in one day. But let me tell you, we did a lot of diagnostic work here. We figured out that something was malfunctioning within the relay. Then we had to make the decision whether to fix that, go after that relay or not. And then the problem might be another 8 months, year or two down the road, the unit could fail. I think it makes a lot of more sense to get a modern unit and pop it in there. I only had 5 distribution ports for DC, and I want to put things like a nicer stereo system. I want to add some more task lighting. I need to put monitors here. So I need to beef up that power panel and step up to a bigger unit. Anyway, stay tuned. Part 2 of the repair videos are coming up. The other thing that of this one will be coming up in the future. The other thing we determined too is that the generator works just fine. It's kicking out power beautifully, and I'm really happy for that, because I don't have to mess with pulling the generator out 110 pounds and putting that on the bench and getting a harmonic puller off and pulling the flywheel. What a mess that stuff is. So that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure to stay tuned to the second part of the electrical system repairs when we go after the installation of the new converter box. Okay, thanks so much for watching, everyone.